Our next presenter is Elyssa Payne from the University of Sydney. Elyssa is a student studying her PhD on the subject of animal behaviour and welfare. She completed her bachelor degree in animal and veterinary bioscience at the University of Sydney in 2011. This is the first year of her project, which covers the human-dog relationship, particularly how human attributes and behaviour influences dog behaviour in training and the overall human-animal bond. So please join me in welcoming Elyssa.
Hi, is it on? Okay. So this is part of my PhD project, which is called Characterising Dogmanship. And by dogmanship, I'm talking about human-dog interactions and the skill with which a person may train or just generally interact with their dog. Now, while this is the first part of a 3-year project, and there is no specific data yet, as a result of a literature review, there are some interesting ideas about looking at the dog-human relationship and ways to assess a person's skill and what makes them a dog person or a less skilled dog person. So that's my dog there. Clearly she isn't a working dog unless you count potentially being able to work on a Star Wars film. She's got the Ewok face. So as everyone knows, there is a wealth of free information available about dog training, both in the working world and general dog keeping practice. However, even with this information, there is still no guarantee a novice dog trainer will experience great results in practice. We don't really know what distinguishes the great handlers or even the dog whisperers and what defines their specific dogmanship. So when a human-dog relationship is dysfunctional, there can be several negative consequences such as behavioural problems, welfare issues, and pertinent to the working dog industry, wastage. So as a result, preventing such instances of dysfunction is beneficial in all facets of dog keeping, including the working world. So my project that's my dog on the beach. It's not a shadow or a rock. So this project has 2 main aims. The first to identify the human attributes which best motivate dogs in training, and secondly to determine the human behaviours or attributes that seem to enhance interspecies relationships. And why is this important? Well, it should be able to capture and define what constitutes a functional dog-human partnership and how this relates to the dog's performance in training. And ideally, this should be able to upskill a novice trainer, handler, or even owner into how to better interact with their dogs and hopefully prevent breakdown and the negative consequences of breakdown. Also, in an ideal world, this will help with the optimal matching of dogs and handlers based on the projected relationship quality and working performance. So what human attributes contribute to the human-dog bond? Well, in order to answer this, you need to consider a way to assess how a dog reacts to a given human behaviour or attribute. Now, you'll hear more about this tomorrow, but it has been suggested that behavioural output in training is at least partly influenced by an animal's arousal and affective state. Arousal referring to, their general activation or attention, and affective state to do with their emotional valency. So bearing this in mind, I conducted a literature search looking for the human attributes which seem to affect a dog-human relationship and considered that in regards to arousal and affective state. So 3 examples are here. The arrows just indicate the projected influence the behaviour would have on arousal and affective state. So up arrow increase, down arrow decrease, and the number of arrows relates to the relative magnitude. So 3 examples here are consistent behaviour, building on an animal's learning history, and that includes emotional associations, and high familiarity to the dog. And all of these can lead a person to be generally more predictable, which can moderate arousal, and if interactions are positive, contribute to positive affective state. So 3 more examples which are more obviously desirable to the dog are incorporating a large amount of positive reinforcement, affiliative interactions such as play, and activity sharing. And obviously these can lead to a more positive affective state or mood in the animal. It's hiding under the umbrella because it's safe. So the absence of fear and safety is obviously a priority for the dog, and this can be communicated through a general feeling of safety in itself, or the absence of threatening signals, or the restriction of aversive negative reinforcement and positive punishment. And where these things can't be avoided, the use of a safety signal to indicate the non-occurrence of something aversive can contribute to positive effect. In terms of the saliency and delivery of commands, a dog's performance seems to be at its best when the human effectively captures the attention of the dog either on themselves or whatever it is they want the dog to engage with. And conversely, it's also important that their attention is directed towards the dog. And where verbal signals are used, clear, high-pitched verbals seem to be good in increasing arousal. So 2 attributes which are a bit more vague are human to dog attachment and for the human to be a candidate for canine attachment. Now, these are obviously important to the dog-human bond, but it's difficult to project the exact influence this would have on arousal and affective state, especially as I'm sure all of you anecdotally know, a dog can attach to a person if they are, for lack of a better word, hopeless. So putting these together, it becomes clear that some of these behaviours are more relative to training interactions, while others are more relative to caregiving interactions. For example, affiliation is maybe easier if you're just looking after the dog, and in training interactions, mutual attention can be more important. But these do tend to balance each other out, which does suggest that the best possible relationship you can have with your dog happens when you perform both caregiving and training interactions, which is fortunately often the case. Now, these attributes also a lot of them, seem to align with the construct of emotional intelligence, which relates to an individual's ability to use and control emotions and their own emotions and the emotions of others, and to use this information as a guide for thoughts and actions. And bearing this in mind, the plan is to now examine dog-human dyads to determine which of these factors contribute the most significantly to the success of a partnership. And this will likely involve observing humans interacting with dogs in standardised scenarios and surveying experienced versus less experienced dog trainers. So to sum up, the characterisation of dogmanship should improve the dog-human interaction across the board, and this will apply to working partnerships and potentially assist in the optimal matching, as I said, of dogs and handlers, and identifying relationships which are more likely to struggle, and then you can intervene in those situations, and reduce negative consequences such as wastage, relinquishment, and euthanasia. So this optimisation of the human-dog relationship should theoretically increase working performance because of the positive associations we've seen, but further direct examination is required. Thanks.